We would like to welcome you to the Boldcastify College Series, Episode 9. We're going to be taking a look back on Week 10. All right, guys, what do we got?
Well, Clay, do you have the first college football playoff rankings, my friend?
Yes, we do. It's big news in college football. The committee just released them.
Well,
It's a little bit of a shocker.
The 4 playoff teams, 3 of them are obvious, one of them a huge surprise.
I was kind of shocked, but actually I wasn't.
Why? I still don't get Texas A&M being in there because I just don't see it.
All right, well, breaking news, you just know one of them.
Yes.
Number 4, Texas A&M. They're in the playoff as of this moment, and they are 1 loss.
Not understanding them being in over undefeated Washington. Even though undefeated Washington, the out-of-conference schedule was about as soft as the Charmin tissue a lot of people use. The fact that they've had style points at least against that soft schedule.
Fair enough. Michigan comes in at number 3 with an 8-0 record. Big Ten.
Well, Big Ten.
Fair enough. Average is best. Number 2,
Clemson.
8-0 after a big win versus Florida State, which we'll get into later.
Yep.
And rounding out the whole
No surprises here.
No surprise. 8-0 Bama. Coming off a bye.
Bama.
Their next opponent, LSU, which we will get into also.
Yep.
So go back to number 4 and 5, because 5, which is still sitting out of the playoff, would be Washington, 8-0. An 8-0 Pac-12 team on the outside looking in.
So no Pac-12, no Big 12 right now.
No.
I thought if it was a 1-loss team, it was going to be Louisville, not A&M. But that was just me.
But they're still considering the A&M schedule a little tougher. Plus,
I don't really see it either, but...
Plus, you have to remember, Louisville almost lost to Virginia.
No, they didn't. They did beat Virginia.
I said almost. Keyword.
Right.
I said almost.
Thought I heard a Freudian slip.
Nope. Almost hand grenades, horseshoes, and atomic bombs. But they did come back in the last minute or so and got the touchdown and held on to beat the Cavaliers. So I'm pretty sure a few of those things kind of played into it. But then again, you think their win over NC State would kind of...
A&M really, to me, doesn't have a lot of style points though on a lot of their wins either. And their schedule hadn't been, to me, any tougher than Louisville's in reality. Or any tougher in reality. They've kind of Charmin soft out of conference too.
A&M?
A little bit. I mean, New Mexico State.
They also did play UCLA to open the season.
Well, UCLA, that shine off of that win is...
I know it's definitely diminished. It's an out-of-conference opponent. So, yeah, I'm sure they're taking everything in consideration. I mean, who did Louisville play out of conference?
They're about to play Houston.
Which, obviously, that shine's disappeared.
A little bit.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, a lot of it. They've lost 2 and almost lost 3. Because they had to make a 14-point comeback to beat Central Florida?
Yeah.
I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see how it runs down. We'll cover the remaining 5. It'll be Washington, Ohio State, Louisville come in at 7.
That's a shocker.
Wisconsin come in at 8, Auburn 9, and Nebraska 10. And for the local folks, Florida is at 11, LSU's at 13, North Carolina's 21, Vatex 19, and Florida State's at 22.
The only 3-loss team still left.
Yes.
Granted, I think part of that might be strength of schedule.
I'm pretty sure they're taking everything in consideration because their 3 losses are to
North Carolina is the worst one, and that's 21.
Right. All the teams are above them, still in the poll. That's probably why they're still in the poll. So take a look back at that Clemson game.
I understand why Jimbo Fisher got a $20,000 fine.
Well deserved. They earned it.
Because let's just put it this way. The call was a little ticky-tack, and it changed the full complexion of the game. Take away that call.
Oh, that definitely changed the complexion of the game. 60-yard difference.
20. It goes up 2 scores.
They called what they thought was a clipping call. And the referee said, I thought I seen a clipping. He didn't say I saw clipping. He said, I thought I seen clipping, so I threw a flag. Assumption.
That was after the game he said that?
Yeah.
And he called a chop block.
Sorry. Chop block. Whatever. Chop block, clipping. So.
When in reality, Freddie Stevenson completely whiffed on the block.
Yeah.
I mean, his hand might have caught the back of the shoe while he was falling,
Cook had, how long was that yard? 60,
It was like a 50-yard run.
50-some-odd yard run. So with that, added the penalty, it's like more than 60 yards back.
Yeah.
And not to mention Jimbo's additional penalty.
It wasn't Jimbo. Apparently it was another assistant got flagged, but still.
Yeah, I forgot. He did come out and say that some assistant got flagged, which...
He wasn't even talking to the ref. He was just talking out of turn. Just
exactly.
And Jimbo was giving the ref lip service. Then 2 plays later, a blatant pass interference where the guy's grabbing his arm while trying to get the ball gets uncalled.
Right. There was just terrible officiating. Because, I mean, it just wasn't... don't get me as being biased, because, I mean, we are Knowles fans here. But, I mean, it wasn't
when your
all...
quarterback gets speared in the chest.
What I'm saying, it wasn't all one way. The lack of calls...
face mask on Deshaun Watson that they get uncalled.
There was a clear face mask on Deshaun that was not called. I mean, his head was kind of spun around.
Yeah.
Yes, the lack of calls on Francois, he was getting obliterated out there. He got, like you said, a spear to the chest.
And it was late.
Oh, yeah, it was well after he had
There were about 3 or 4 late hits on Francois that were not getting called.
Nope. The officiating in the Atlantic Coast Conference
needs to be
trash.
Reviewed. It needs to be looked at. That was some
I'm calling him out because guess what? They can't find me.
They can't find me either. That was some crooked crap.
Because, I mean, it's been like this for years. Because,
it has.
Look back last year, the Miami game.
Oh, yeah.
When Miami did the little, I don't know, whatever you call it, toss back and all the other things to get the ball from the end zone.
Yeah.
When the guy was down, the player was down on the 20 during the Duke game.
Yeah.
But they called it a touchdown. When they went back and reviewed the footage, Duke was ranked. Duke could have won their division.
Yeah.
And I pretty much screwed them.
Basically, I think the ACC sometimes picks who they want to win and who they want to lose sometimes. I really do.
It seems that way. It's officiating.
The ACC is fixed right now to me. But that's just me.
I mean, just the laterals in the game were cool. But just how they missed the knee down. They had video evidence. They reviewed it for it seemed like 15 minutes. It probably wasn't that long. But they botched that. There was something.
The Miami game this year against Florida State. I did not think Stacey Coley was in bounds on that play when he had full control of that football.
No, I don't believe so either. But I mean, there was never plays there.
They didn't start reviewing. In fact, the Miami-Florida State game in 2012 was the reason why they started reviewing targeting calls. Was because, Nigel Bradham's foot was down and he never speared the guy.
Yes.
And they tossed him.
Yes,
because LaRon Bird got knocked out on the hit. Not his fault. Ja'Cory Harris threw him. His clock cleaned.
Yeah, that's on them.
And speaking of targeting, that one on Trey Marshall was not a target.
No, it was not.
The receiver ducked the head into it.
He did, but he did side of the helmet.
But I was saying the receiver ducked his head.
That's what I'm trying to agree here. And I think they're being a little overzealous on how they want to call it now.
Because that, by rule, is not a target if the receiver ducks his head.
I'm in agreement with you. I'm in agreement.
And I'm just
so
saying
they need to clean that up and how they go about the targeting, and especially when they're out. There needs to be 2 different targeting calls, is what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. Especially when it costs the player, when it's in the second half of a game and it costs the player the first half of the following game. Mm-hmm. That's crap.
That is.
So they need to. I mean, what you saw in the
by rule that should have been overturned. Because if the receiver ducks his head, I've looked at the rule. The receiver ducks his head, it is not a target.
Right.
The receiver has initiated contact.
Right. But what you saw in the Boston College Syracuse game a couple of weeks ago, where all hell broke loose and there was a scuffle and everything, they threw a couple of flags, but they couldn't even control the game.
No, they couldn't. The ACC has had issues with this all year long.
I mean, I don't know what they've got to do, new officiating, something. But something else I will mention, it needs to be across college football. SEC officiating.
SEC is crooked too.
Yeah. Pac-12,
Alabama,
great.
Florida,
not great.
Yeah.
Just in general, there needs to be a more unified college football officiating.
There needs to be one full crew that works.
Yes.
Like they're a Division I an FBS crew, an FCS crew, Division II, Division III,
something along those.
NAIA.
I do
hires their own.
I do understand you want to keep it separate because separate leagues, but this is
regional guys.
That's fine, but this is getting a little out of hand. Just clean your product up.
Definitely.
But right now, I'm just on referees for the moment because this changed the outcome of a game once again because it was a 60-yard swing and a changing of a score.
Yeah.
Very dramatic.
Screwed the momentum of the game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move off that game.
Yeah, let's get off our soapbox for right now. Look back at some of the rest of the games. A few unbeatens going down.
Yeah, big games. Unbeatens go down.
Okie State, goes over West Virginia, 37-20. I called that one.
Yeah.
Because the thing about it was for
blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while.
Well, West Virginia hadn't been tested at all either, and Okie State is a half-worth crap team.
Fair enough. Their defense couldn't hold that time.
And then Texas over Baylor, 35-34. For some reason, even though Charlie Strong has struggled against most of the rest of the Big 12, for some reason he tends to have Baylor's number.
Indeed he does.
This is the second straight year.
Matthew McConaughey was happy.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you think that saves Mr. Strong's job?
Definitely.
Wisconsin going over Nebraska in overtime. Pretty nice game, actually, out there in Big Ten land.
It was a very nice game.
Ugly game, but good.
It's Big Ten football.
Yep. And then Wyoming by a safety over Boise State.
Whew. How about them Cowboys?
How about Craig Bowl got them bowling for the first time since 2011? For those who don't know the history of Craig Bowl, he was the coach that built North Dakota State.
Oh, wow.
Did you practice
That's now
that?
at Wyoming. No, I did not actually. That came straight off the
Off the hip?
Off the hip.
Straight off the hip.
No
I had to
tip.
ask because it seemed like you practiced out in the mirror all day.
The last time Wyoming went to a bowl game, their secondary had 3 pro players on it.
Yeah.
Mark Weston Huff, Tashawn Gibson, and Chris Brzezinski.
And they've all wore Jaguar uniforms.
Unfortunately. All right.
Spoken like a true Jaguar.
I feel pity for them.
Yeah.
All right, some conference games. ACC, Louisville getting a little scare from Virginia, but
They had to make a
hold
comeback
on.
in the last 30 seconds.
32-25. Lamar Jackson pulling some miracles.
He still looks good, though.
Virginia Tech over Pitt, 39-36 in a circus. That game looked ugly at the beginning. They kept both teams were turning it over.
Just like I figured Tech would win it.
I thought Pitt would, but hey, they were both. It was a tit for tat game.
Right. Ramblin' Wreck knocks off
From
Duke.
Georgia Tech, hell of an engineers, knocking off some Blue Devils.
Yep, that was up in Atlanta, I believe.
Yes, it was. Boston College getting their first league win in almost 2 years. By the way,
2
over
years.
NC State.
2 years.
They
wow.
did not win They did not win a league game last year. The last time
Right.
they won a league game was 2014. Before that,
Wow, that's rough. Rough days.
over NC State pulling the upset. So I'd say Steve Adazio's a little bit relieved now.
I'm sure he is.
And then Notre Dame over Miami 30-27. What is wrong in Coral Gables right now?
The U has lost 4 straight.
What is wrong with Coral Gables?
The Garnet and Gold effect.
Yeah,
every team that after Florida State plays Miami,
For some reason,
tank.
they've fallen apart the last
They fall
few years.
apart.
It's like they'll come in like undefeated or with 1 loss, and it's like
they crap out.
Down
And I
the
mean,
toilet.
honestly, I'm saying this as a State fan. I actually want to see Miami do kind of well. Oh, it's better for the league.
Yeah.
It's better for the state. I want to see them kind of come back.
I do too. I kind of want to. Plus, it makes a little bit more fun in the banter with the Miami folks.
Yeah, it makes a rivalry. It's better for a rivalry.
It's like beating up on the brother versus brother deal.
Right.
That's what Miami and Florida State has kind of become.
Well, yeah, that's what it is. That's what it has been. But beating up your brother constantly and no one fighting back. There is no fight.
There's no fun.
That's no fun. There's no
Exactly.
rivalry. The rivalry is just like,
Meh. Yeah.
you want a rivalry back. Miami,
Clemson
They've
is
got to-
right now.
yeah, I mean, they have been for a while. Miami's got to do something. I think part of it's a talent issue, part of it's mentality. Mark's there. I mean, he's good. But he's got to instill his philosophy and his mentality.
Former alum, got a lot of pride for the program.
Oh yeah. He'll get it straightened out, I think.
The next one, we're going to go on to the SEC. Of course, Florida over Georgia, 24-10. The Georgia curse continues.
That's 3 in a row, right?
I believe it is.
Yeah.
And Florida's won all but 5 of the last 20 matchups or something like that.
Yeah, I want to say it's 21 out of 26.
Yeah.
Florida's won.
Ever since
Spur Dog's been there, Florida has owned this series.
Spurrier, Zook, Meyer, Muschamp, McElwain, doesn't matter who the coach is, Georgia loses.
Yeah, I know a fellow from Macon, Georgia, who's not a fan.
Yep.
That is
another big upset, speaking of SEC rivalries.
Oh, yeah.
South Carolina over Tennessee.
Ooh, what is that?
What's wrong with Tennessee for one, and for two, I think Mr. Muschamp's found him a quarterback.
Might be. That's a good choice.
The freshman, Bentley.
May be his first quarterback.
Yeah, who last year was a junior in high school. They took the red shirt off him because they were that desperate for a quarterback. Turns out maybe he's the answer.
Right. Carolina hasn't had a quarterback since Shaw.
His dad's an assistant on the staff.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
That probably helped.
Guy graduated high school early.
So how old is he? 17?
17 or just turned 18.
Wow.
One of those, yeah.
Little red around the ears.
Mm-hmm. But apparently he's good enough to start. They were going to redshirt him, but they took the red shirt off because
they needed him.
They needed a quarterback bad.
That's a big win. That's a big win for Carolina
Auburn
and Muschamp because I think Muschamp is still undefeated
on the hot
versus Tennessee.
Yeah, but he's on the hot seat. He was on the hot seat a little bit.
Yeah, he'll be fine. But tell me this. Hold on. Tell me this. Still stick with this game. What's this do for Tennessee? They've now lost, 3 or 4 or something along that line. You have defections from the program. Jalen Hurd. Is it Jalen Hurd?
Yes.
He is now bouncing. He is a junior, correct?
Yes.
He is now bouncing.
He was projected to be a top 3 round pick.
Yes. And now he has announced his transfer from the Tennessee program.
Is he a graduate transfer? That would be the bigger question. Or is he going to have to sit out a year?
I am not confirmed on whether he's a graduate yet, but he's announced he's going to hold out and transfer.
And the thing about that is...
But that's the 3rd transfer announced in the last month.
Tennessee...
What's happened in Tennessee?
If I'm not mistaken, they're supposed to be playing Vandy next week. They're only a couple point favorite.
Yeah.
Over Vandy.
They have fallen.
And then Auburn had to come back, but they come back against Ole Miss 40-29. Ole Miss, for some reason, has had issues holding second half leads. Hugh Freeze has got to find a fix for that.
I kind of figured that's the way it was going to be.
Hugh Freeze, the problem with him is, what is wrong with Hugh Freeze's defense?
It's not good.
Not good at all.
It's proven to be. That's the case. That's their MO for the entire 16 season.
Yeah, dumpster defense.
First half, they come out like a bat out of hell, and then the second half, it's like they went to hell.
Maybe they get burned out. Maybe they just don't have the stamina to go.
That's pretty well. Yeah, they don't have the stamina to make it through because it was pretty evident in the game against Florida State, and then reiterated in the game versus Alabama. It's pretty much sticking through. It's their MO. Season. This is by this time in the year, you are what you are,
and that's what Ole Miss is.
Yes,
they're a shootout team. The next conference, the American. Houston had to come back from the dead to beat Central Florida. As I said with Central Florida last week, I'm just glad that the basement's able to make money again.
And you should get a sponsorship from the basement. How much you talk about them?
Well, they made themselves a talking point last year when, until UCF gets a win, we're going to serve free beer.
Fair enough. I think it was only Bud Light, though.
Still, it's free Bud Light. So every student from Central Florida is going to head up to the basement.
Explain to Blake.
South Florida beat Navy. Called that one.
Went down.
I didn't realize South Florida had lost to Temple. I'm going to fix an error from last week.
Yes.
On that. So
I let that one ride.
Yeah. South Florida, though, I think they should be somewhere close to ranked even with that because Temple's not a bad football team.
But they're not great.
They're not great, but I'm saying they're not.
They're all right.
So you say they should get a pity
a pity ranking because
the fact that South Florida's played good football
they played all
most
right
of the year.
But now Navy comes to Jacksonville for their big matchup with the not so fighting Irish.
With a 3-5 Irish squad?
I believe so. Something along that line. They're not good. They are not good. This is not what Mr. Catlett had anticipated when he put this schedule together.
I'm actually going to pick Navy in that game. I'm going to go ahead and spoil people right now. I'm picking Navy. I am picking the triple option.
Yeah, I have to kind of probably agree.
Next up, the Big Ten.
Of course, the ACC.
The Big Ten here. Michigan getting a little revenge on Sparty.
Indeed.
People remember last year that Michigan had the game won and then botched a snap on a punt, which was returned for a touchdown by Michigan State, who won the game on that last play.
The faces and the fans were incredible.
But yes, Sparty losing 32-23. Now Sparty, I believe, is 2-6.
Yes.
0-5 for the first time in 50 years in conference play.
Really? That's incredible.
They haven't been that way. I think they haven't been that way since JFK was president.
That's been a minute.
The last time they went 0-5 in conference play.
I'll be honest, breaking news, it's been a while.
And then Ohio State basically squirms past Northwestern 24-20.
They're all right.
Yeah, Northwestern, though, is a bowl quality team, so...
Bowl quality.
They're a bowl.
Still doesn't say a lot.
Yeah.
Ohio State's average at best.
For a team with one loss, yes. They are kind of meh. Now, from the Big Ten to the redheaded stepchild of the Power 5 conferences, the rest of the Big 12. OU, or Oklahoma, Boomer Sooner, just basically made complete waste of Rock Chalk Jayhawk.
It was pretty bad. Not good.
Does Rock Chalk Jayhawk just need to get rid of their football program?
I don't think they need to get rid of it. You can still do something with it. It's still evident. But they need to redo what they've got.
Why not hire the fat guy back, Mangino?
Where the hell is Mangino?
He's an assistant.
Is he still an assistant up in Iowa State?
Somewhere. I want to say he is still up at Iowa. But I'm saying, here's the thing.
That was their mistake getting rid of him in the first place.
Yeah.
But then that's what they need to do. They need to get someone who runs a spread or a triple option to where it's easy to recruit the players. And believe me, I don't believe in a triple option or a spread. I don't like it now anymore. Because it destroys the offensive lines.
The only thing
but we're not going to get off topic.
But yeah.
But it's easier to recruit for a school that needs to get the recruits. They're great with the basketball. All their money goes to their basketball.
Yeah.
But they can supplement and focus on the skill positions.
Well, the triple option worked for Nebraska and SMU for a while. So...
Yes, but we're talking decades ago.
SMU had Dickerson and James.
Right, that's right.
And
it was good then.
McElhaney.
It was good then, but we're talking like now. I'm not talking about the 80s and 90s.
Triple option could work now, but you would need, some player. But here's the thing with Kansas. Ever since they fired Mark Mangino, it's not like they hired nobodies. I mean, Charlie Weiss, Turner Gill, those were good coaches.
Names, keywords.
Turner Gill had actually made Buffalo look half respectable before he came to Kansas, and was a former Big 12 quarterback.
Okay.
Former option quarterback at Nebraska.
Once again, what does that mean? Just because you're an option quarterback doesn't mean you're a good coach.
He was a guy that had a reputation as a good coach before that.
Right.
And
I understand what you're trying to
bombed. Charlie Weiss couldn't recreate. Neither one of those guys. Those are both good coaches, but neither one of them could do anything, and now they got a no-name guy who really can't do anything.
Charlie Weiss was still average at best.
But
he didn't do very well at Notre Dame, but that's another story.
Well, his best-known fact is he was the guy who helped develop Tom Brady.
Sure.
That was his claim to fame.
They've got to do something. There's coaches out there, developmental coaches that they can hire in, because they're going to get those third-tier coaches, third-tier coaches. They can bring them in, similar to what they did with Gill.
Yeah.
Bring someone in there, but they've got to put a little money into the program. And they have to have a special system. Because they can't just they have to do like a fun and gun or a triple option, something like that. Catch teams off their heels.
Like a run and shoot.
Yeah, something of that nature. Because the defense, Big 12, that's what they do out there.
Defense optional.
It's very optional out there. They have to do something to catch up.
The fact that you only scored 3 points in a league that is defense optional.
Right.
I mean, granted, they came close to beating TCU, but that's the closest they've come to beating They missed a 54-yard field goal at the buzzer.
How many wins do they even have this year?
1, and it was against an FCS opponent. And then Texas Tech over TCU in a surprisingly low-scoring game, 27-24. I thought that was going to be a shootout.
Yeah,
because I mean, Pat Mahomes versus Kenny Hill. That's asking for a shootout. And then add on the fact that neither team is really known for playing defense. Texas Tech the week before had given up 66 points to Oklahoma. TCU earlier in the year gave up 41 points to South Dakota State.
Wow.
That should tell you how little we expected defensively out of that football game.
Well, the entire league, as we just said, is pretty bad at defense.
Yeah, we thought the Pac-12 a decade ago was bad at defense. Whew. This just makes that look like...
See, the Pac-12 is not very bad at defense.
No, but I'm saying back...
I understand that, but now they've kind of rectified that. USC brought that back years ago.
10 to 15 years ago, though, when you thought about Pac-12, you thought about video game scores. Right now, that's the Big 12. It's basically a video game. Speaking of the Pac-12... 54-35 over Arizona State, finally getting off the schneid.
Yeah, that's still a rough team. I think they're still 3-5.
Yep, I still think Helfrich is on the hot seat.
I probably would imagine right now. They're not happy with them from what I'm hearing in Eugene.
Stanford over the injury-filled Arizona, 34-10. Poor Rich Rod. Can't keep players healthy right now.
No. I forgot Rich Rod was even there.
That's the story I'm hearing out of Arizona is they're dealing with injuries left and right.
Yeah.
And then Thursday, USC over Cal, 45-24. USC seems to have righted the ship after a quarterback change.
Now, what do you think this does for them long term? Do you think they're going to keep Clay Helton?
Oh, yeah, I think Clay Helton saved... Sam Darnold has saved Clay Helton's ass. Cal, of course, Davis Webb, the former Texas Tech transfer, is their quarterback.
Right.
And has actually done pretty well, but, hey, USC has looked like a different team since Sam Darnold took over.
Indeed they have.
Gave it to the redshirt freshman, and he's doing work.
That's all it takes sometimes. With that, we're going to take a small peek at the AP Top 25.
Even though it doesn't really...
It's not as mattered, it's not as pointful as it was, but we'll still run
just
through
take a look at the top 10.
We'll just glance through it. Alabama still leads it off. Michigan's number 2. Clemson's number 3. Washington's number 4. Louisville's number 5. 6 is Ohio State. 7 is Texas A&M. Whiskey comes up at 8. Nebraska, 9. Florida, number 10. Auburn, 11. Oklahoma, 12. Baylor, 13. West Virginia, 14. LSU, 15. Utah, 16. Western Michigan, 17. North Carolina, 18. Florida State University, 19. Penn State, 20. Colorado, 21. Oklahoma State, 22. Virginia Tech, 23. Boise State, 24. And Washington State, 25.
Wazoo at the back end there.
And receiving votes, Houston, Southern Cal, San Diego State, Troy, Tennessee, South Florida, Arkansas, Wyoming, and Tulsa.
And speaking of which, I think there's only 2 Group of 5 teams ranked right now.
Yeah,
West Virginia and Western Michigan and Boise State.
Yep.
By the way, Western Michigan, the last of the Group of 5, still undefeated. PJ Fleck there, rowed the boat. Wonder how long that's going to last there. I'm betting money it says he's going to be involved in a lot of searches.
Probably so, I imagine. Especially if he keeps rowing the boat.
You think Tom Herman's name is hot? I bet money it says PJ Fleck's name is on a lot of.
Well, I imagine his name's kind of cooled off a little bit here in recent days.
Herman?
Yeah,
I doubt it, especially with Texas and LSU in that region looking for a head man. I think that's part of why Charlie Strong's seat is on fire right now. It's because of Tom Herman.
Well then. Well, okay, with that, let's look at some news and notes around college football. What do we have there, Mark?
So in reality, there's not really much what I can think of.
Need a quarterback? Remember, USC still has Max Brown. Since we were talking about him, I mean, since they made the change in USC, they still got a quarterback that's not in use.
Yep.
LSU suspends their offensive lineman, Devon Campbell, after he was arrested at Georgia Tech over the weekend.
Well,
what was he arrested for?
Why would he be at Georgia Tech?
I have no idea. And I still have no idea what he was arrested for.
I'm going to say he went there for a lady.
Probably so. I'm pretty sure Coach O was not very happy. So he's going to look into it. He said his brother is a redshirt defensive back with the yellow jacket. So he went there to check him out. The brother was not suspended. They said it was very...
Sounds it.
Not good.
I don't know why he didn't bring it up to the coaching staff before he went there.
Last but not least, Les Miles on coaching. After LSU, he says, I have a good 10 or 12 more years left in me.
10, 12 more years of the Mad Hatter then somewhere.
So where do you think he's going to end up?
Possibly Jacksonville?
I'm thinking college football. Anyways,
Still be better than Gus.
FSU, we're out of the picture.
It's kind of a lost season now.
Think it's a lost season?
The only ways to salvage this season is to beat Florida and win the bowl game.
I mean, you can still have a 10-win season and win the state title. So, I mean, I don't consider it a lost season. I mean, it's still a little underwhelming, but it's not a lost season.
I mean no chance to win the ACC. Because that's the first mission of the season. The second mission is to win national championship.
Fair enough. I understand what you're saying.
When you're Florida State and you're recruiting at that level, there should be only two missions. Win the ACC and win the national title. You're recruiting at that level.
I understand that. We're recruiting at a very high level right there with Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State.
Clemson's also somewhere near that level.
Clemson's actually beneath us. So
they're a little bit, but I'm saying they're still top 10 recruiting
but
classes.
But they're showing pretty good what they're getting the most out of their recruits. Well, my point being, do you consider this a write-off season?
Yes, I do. Because if you're not going to win the ACC with the talent you have, it's a write-off season. I'm sorry. For me, I look at it as us and Clemson should be the only ones in this if you look at like recruiting classes and all that. Because Clemson's been bringing in top 10 classes too. So
it's not all about recruiting, man.
Yeah, but if you're recruiting guys, you ought to be able to figure out who can play and who can't. I mean, if you're a professional coach, you ought to be able to see a guy and say, hey, this guy can play. Or like, hey, this guy's overrated, or this guy's really just not what we think he is.
Right, now
you would think,
but there's more than just going and being able to tell this and tell that. But you have to actually coach them up. You have to actually teach them new techniques and different things.
Like if I look at a guy and I see a defensive tackle and I see him at 6'2" and about 310 pounds, the first thing I think of is this guy ought to be able to cover two blockers.
Right.
If he's not taking up two blockers on every play, then he and I are having an issue.
Yeah, fair enough. I can see what you're saying, but I mean, like coaches have different opinions. It's all opinions at the end of the day. I said, I don't think it's a lost season personally. I mean, it's like I said,
any season when you don't win the ACC is
okay
to me. But that's just
it's an underwhelming season. It's not. It doesn't meet total expectations. But hold on, if we still beat our rivals, which we've missed out on two,
missed out on one.
Sorry, one.
Clemson, but yeah.
Yes, one. Then it's not good.
Well,
so far we missed out on one. We got to get the other two. We've gotten one.
Yeah.
We got Miami. We got to get Florida. And if you still ended on a good note with the bowl game,
I mean, if we went out, it'd be 10-3.
That's my point. 10-win season. If you wrap it up with a bowl game, then guess what? That's better than what you did last year.
Yeah, but still, in my case, you're also not going to anywhere near as prestigious a bowl. You're probably third or fourth choice of ACC school.
That's not the point. You'll still be a little up there because you're Florida State. My point is, you still wrap it up with a win.
Well, what's the best bowl game you're going to go to? The freaking Peach Bowl?
That's where we were last year.
Never mind. Actually, the Peach Bowl's now part of the 6. I'm looking at it from the traditional bowl.
Yes, the Peach
Bowl used to be the number 2 or 3 ACC school.
And it actually will be one of the playoff bowls.
Yeah, now. So where would you go? Champ Sports Bowl?
Possibly. I'm not really sure, to be honest.
I think that's the number 4.
It's something like that.
Or it used to be the number 4.
You got to remember everything's been moved back one spot because of the playoffs.
Yeah, because if an ACC team went to the championship, then another one would take the place in the BCS, and then it would be the Peach Bowl would get the 3rd place team, and the Champ Sports would get the 4th.
Right.
If I remember correctly.
But with the way there's 2 bowls involved, because the Orange Bowl and the Champ Sports are both involved.
The
Peach Bowl are both involved.
Or Chick-fil-A Bowl, or whatever they're called.
It's the Peach Bowl.
Yeah.
It's called the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl.
It's the daggone Peach Bowl.
Yes, that's what it should have been from the first place. But with the fact they're both involved, that's where the most are going to go. So we'll be layered down to possibly even the Gator Bowl.
Well, Gator Bowl is now not ACC related anymore.
They can still pull an ACC team. They have the option to pull an ACC.
Oh, they've put that as a loophole now?
Yes, they have the option to pull an ACC team. Now, it's doubtful they'll pull us, but they do have the option to pull a middle-tier ACC team.
But we're technically right now not middle tier. Right now we'd probably be the number 4 ACC team, which is still top 3rd of the league.
I understand. But it's wait to be seen. It's interesting to follow.
We're the 5th highest now, but by the end of the year I think we'll be 4th.
Right.
Or 3rd maybe.
There's a lot of football left to be seen. So with that being said, how do you think it wraps up for the 2 division leaders?
I'm thinking it's going to be Clemson and Carolina.
Oh, okay. So
I'm just going by who's playing the best football.
So a rematch of last year's championship game.
I hate to say this, yes, and if anybody other than Carolina, it'd be Virginia Tech. So it'd be Clemson versus either Virginia Tech or... Because I'm basically giving Clemson the Atlantic, because basically Clemson's got to lose twice for Louisville to even have a chance. Because of the tiebreaker.
Okay, fair enough.
So,
I agree with you there.
Clemson's going to win the Atlantic, and it's either going to be Carolina or Virginia Tech out of the Coastal.
All right. Do you think there's a possibility of Louisville getting into the playoff without being a champion?
Long shot, but if chaos happens, yes. Keyword, if chaos happens, like Washington loses or Michigan falls apart.
And apparently A&M has to lose again.
Well, I think A&M probably will lose again, but...
Wow, that's pretty rough.
That's the thing. The SEC West is kind of... The SEC West and the ACC Atlantic are the 2 toughest divisions in football right now.
Yeah, that's pretty true. So with that...
But I think Clemson's dodged all their bullets.
So far, so good. They've done pretty well.
No, I'm saying I think they've dodged all the bullets in the chamber right now.
I mean, they've dodged most of all the bullets they've got.
The only other bullet they'd have is the ACC championship game. That's the only other bullet I see.
And they do have Carolina at the end of the year.
Well,
so don't count out Carolina.
I forgot they had Carolina on their schedule at the back end.
Can't forget the rivals.
Well, no, South Carolina. Is that what you're referencing?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
South Carolina doesn't even look anywhere near on their level.
Okay. What did we discuss a couple weeks ago with Brandon about rivals? North Carolina State. It's a rivalry.
I think North Carolina State's a better football team than South Carolina.
They just beat Tennessee.
Well,
Tennessee's not bad, but they're not great.
Falling apart, though.
Okay, but still, a rivalry is a rivalry. No. You never know. Keep that in the back of your mind.
I still don't think that's anywhere near a bullet in the chamber compared to Florida State or Louisville.
Well,
but that's just
never know. With that, we're moving to Bama versus LSU. What do you expect to see?
Give me Big Al again.
I'm going to go ahead and take...
I'm going to take Big Al until he fails me right now.
I'm going to jump off the beaten path. I want to stick with the Tigers in Baton Rouge since it's nighttime.
Nighttime in Death Valley, huh? You're going the nighttime in Death Valley angle again. All right.
It's already worked a few times.
It's already worked a couple times for you, but for me, as I said, until Big Al shows me a weakness, I'm going to have to go with Big Al.
Whatever works.
What else we got there on the docket?
Well, that's our game of the week. So we've got only a handful of games that we're going to go over.
No, we really give 2 cents about?
Yeah, we've only got just a few games that we're even going to touch on. UCLA, Colorado. Who you got?
Give me the resurgent Colorado. Mike McIntyre doing work.
All right, that's nice. I'll go ahead and stick with UCLA.
Does Rosen play though? I don't.
Who knows?
Yeah, if he doesn't play, Colorado is going to win.
Probably so. Texas A&M, Mississippi State.
Are we really going to do that? Texas A&M by.
All right.
Because Mississippi State's in the cellar this year.
Louisville, Boston College.
Give me Louisville by a couple scores.
Georgia Tech, North Carolina.
Interesting. I'm going to go Carolina, but I do have my reservations. Closer than the experts think because of Georgia Tech's wonky offense.
Fair enough. I'll stick with the Tar Heels myself. You have the Gators going to Arkansas.
I am Pig Suey, my friend.
Yeah, right now it's probably, but never count out the Gator defense.
Still, Pig Suey, man.
Gator defense has taken them to a number of victories this season.
Well, the SEC West, no.
I'm just saying, still. Syracuse, Clemson.
Give me Clemson by a few touchdowns.
Well, I think it may be a little closer, but
I mean,
Clemson
Eric Dungy will keep Syracuse in the game, I think, for a half, but I think second half, Clemson's just going to run away with it.
Florida State, North Carolina State.
North Carolina.
Oh, you're going NC State, voice in the background, huh?
I have to say, I do hate going to Raleigh-Durham.
Well, I also think North Carolina State's fallen apart a little bit.
Yes, I'm going to stick with Florida State.
I'm going to go with FSU, but closer than the experts think because, Raleigh-Durham. Carter Finley at night is not a fun
No, it's never been good for us. It's never been good for us at all. Nebraska, Ohio State.
Horseshoe? Is it in the horseshoe?
Yes, it's in the horseshoe.
Then give me Brutus. Give me Brutus Buckeye.
All right, some of our last ones. Notre Dame Navy.
Navy.
Give me the middies.
I think everyone's taking the midshipmen. Texas Tech.
Texas.
They
actually need a win, or else he's fired.
No, they're coming off a win versus Baylor, so it's pretty good for them.
I'm going with the upset. Give me Texas Tech.
Oh, Texas Tech in the upset.
Give me Mahomes and the Red Raiders.
That's pretty big.
Yeah, it is.
Pittsburgh and Miami.
Give me Pitt.
Yeah.
Give me the Panthers.
5 straight losses for the Hurricanes?
I hate to say this, they're in free fall right now, and Pitt's actually a decent football team.
It's eventually got to change.
Yeah, but Pitt's a good football team.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and stay with Pitt myself. But something's got to change eventually.
They're live stock in the ACC right now.
They are pretty bad. All right, we've got 2 more on the docket. Georgia, Kentucky.
That's a toss-up right there.
Pick 'em.
I'm going to go with Stoops' boys. I'm gonna go Big Blue Nation.
Big Blue Nation. All right. It's actually not a bad one.
Yeah, that's what I was leaning to, too.
Give me Big Blue Nation.
I actually think everyone's taking Big Blue.
Who'd have thought I'd ever took Kentucky over Georgia?
Well, Kirby Smart era has begun.
And not very well.
And last but not least, Oregon, USC.
Give me Sam Darnold and USC by a few touchdowns because Oregon is in the tank right now.
Yeah, that's pretty well confident. Same thing. We've got one more, actually. Washington, California. Washington.
I hate to agree with the voice in the background there, but I actually have a feeling
that may see an upset.
Davis, Webb, and Cal. Give me the Golden Bears. Give me Cal Berkeley. This is a trap game.
It definitely could be. It definitely has trap written on it.
Emotional win at Utah.
Especially with it being 10:30 at night.
You can never predict the Pac-12 at night.
Pac-12 after dark. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Our game of the week is, of course, Alabama, LSU. Baton Rouge.
Man, I really want Alabama to lose, but it's Saban.
It's after dark in Baton Rouge. We shall see. Thanks for joining us on the Boldcastify College Series. This is episode 9.
Nueve for our Spanish-speaking audience.
Yes. Thank you. And follow us on Garnet and Gold BCS on Twitter and Boldcastify on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Check out the website at boldcastify.com.
And for general sports at Bcastify Sports.
Thanks for joining us this evening. Tartar sauce back.